Good morning everyone and welcome to statistics class. We are in second unit of our syllabus, that is organization of data. In our previous class we have discussed about primary data and methods of collection of primary data. Today we are going to see framing a questionnaire, that is general principles of framing questionnaire. See, questionnaire we have already learnt in our previous class under one of the methods of collection of primary data. Now I would just like to recall what is a questionnaire. Questionnaire is a list of questions where the answers are filled by the informants and these answers are the required information for the investigation. So while drafting a questionnaire, certain general principles are to be followed. Let us discuss them one by one. First one is the number of questions should be as less as possible. A good questionnaire should not be too lengthy. It should be short. Nearly 15 to 20 questions you can include in a questionnaire. Secondly, the questions should be simple to understand. You should use simple English and the questions should not be difficult to answer. Then questions should be arranged logically. Means simple interesting questions should be used as opening questions to gain cooperation and confidence of the respondents. Fourthly, answers to the questions should be short. That is dichotomous questions you have to use. Dichotomous questions means the questions which has only two response, like yes or no type. This type of questions should be used. Next, as far as possible, questions regarding personal matters should be avoided because there may be sensitive informations which may cause embarrassment or harm the respondent's feelings or image. That's why questions regarding personal matters should be avoided. Sixth general principle is any clarifications, if necessary, regarding any of the questions should be supplied in the form of footnote. For example, if they have used any abbreviations, they can provide it in footnote. Seventh one, necessary instructions should be given to the informants. Instructions may be regarding filling of questionnaire or type of questions, etc. may be given. So, necessary instructions should be given to the informants. Then, questions which require mathematical rigor should be avoided because the informants may feel difficult to answer such questions. A questionnaire should be attractive. To make it attractive, the layout should be such that it appears to be neat and orderly and not cluttered. Paper quality should be good. Then, the questions are so framed that the validity of the information supplied by the informants can be cross-checked. Lastly, questionnaire should also assure that the information supplied will be kept confidential and shall not be used for disadvantage. You have to take the informants in confidence. That is, if you are collecting any confidential information, then you have to make sure that it will not be disclosed to anyone. See, this is a format of questionnaire. This questionnaire is regarding introduction of English at school level. See, like this the questionnaire should be. See, first of all they have given under note some of the instructions to the informant. See, here they have written the investigator wants to know about the introduction of English at a school level and you are requested to cooperate kindly in the successful conduct of survey by supplying information to the best possible degree of accuracy. So this is the instruction given by the investigator to the informant. Then see, the questions are arranged logically, and most of the questions are of dichotomous nature. That means which has only two response. So this is a format of questionnaire. Now we will see secondary data. In the beginning of the chapter itself, we have seen there are two types of data: primary data and secondary data. The primary data is the data which is collected for the first time by the investigator. That's why it is called as first hand data. Now what is this secondary data? Secondary data is the data which has been already collected and analyzed by the enumerators. Secondary data is also called as second hand data. So it is not collected for the first time. This data is collected by someone other than the user. Secondary data is the data that has already been collected through primary sources and made readily available for researchers to use for their own research. Now we will see the sources of secondary data. There are mainly two sources of secondary data. One is published sources and one more is unpublished sources. We will discuss it one by one. The first one is published sources. See, there are variety of published sources available for different research topics. The authenticity of the data generated from these sources depends majorly on the writer and publishing company. Some of the published sources are official publications of international bodies such as IMF, IBRD, UNO, etc. Then official publications of central and state governments, journals, newspapers and periodicals, websites of various organizations on the internet. See, all these are published sources of secondary data. Now we will see unpublished sources. See, unpublished sources may not be readily available and easily accessible compared to published sources. Some of the unpublished sources are records maintained at government offices, municipal offices, etc. See, from municipal offices you can get the information regarding birth, death or marriages, etc. Next, records maintained by research institutions, research scholars, etc. These are unpublished sources of secondary data. So in the beginning of this chapter, we have seen collection of data. In that, data can be classified into two types: primary data and secondary data. And primary data can be collected under 5 methods. First one is direct personal observation. Next, indirect oral interview. Thirdly, information through agencies. Then mailed questionnaires. Lastly, schedules sent through enumerators. So all these are the 5 methods of collection of primary data. We have seen how we are going to collect the information under these methods, suitability, merits as well as demerits of all these methods in our previous class. And in this class we have seen what is the meaning of secondary data and sources of secondary data collection, that is published source and unpublished source. Now we will move on to the next topic of this chapter, that is census enumeration and sample survey. See, for conducting statistical inquiry, you are going to collect some information. So information regarding an inquiry can be collected in two ways. They are census enumeration and sample survey. Let us discuss in detail. Firstly, census enumeration. You might have heard about this word census. So what is this census enumeration? A complete enumeration of each and every unit of the population is called census enumeration. Example, population census of India, which will be conducted once in every 10 years, is a census enumeration. So you might have seen teachers visiting your home and asking the information regarding your family members. How many members are there in your family? What are their educational status, occupational status, marital status, and some other information. So they are going to collect information from each and every unit of the population. So this is one example for census enumeration. Now we will see what are the merits as well as demerits of census enumeration. First we will discuss about merits. First one is the results are more accurate and reliable. It says that whatever information you are going to collect under census enumeration, it will be more accurate and reliable because you are going to collect from every unit of the population. You are personally observing it and you are going to collect it. So with that information, whatever results you are going to get, those results will be more accurate as well as reliable. Secondly, data are collected from each and every unit of the population. What happens is here the investigator is going to collect information from all the units of the population. You are not going to collect information from part of the population. Entire units, whatever is present in the population, all the units will be taken into consideration. Thirdly, it provides the detailed study of all the units of the population. Here you can get the detailed information regarding every unit of the population. Next, census method is free from sampling errors. So what is this sampling error? Sampling error is a statistical error that occurs when an analyst does not select sample that represents the entire population. It means nothing but if you are selecting wrong sample from the population, then such statistical error is called as sampling error. So in census enumeration, you are not going to select the sample. That's why sampling error is not there in census method. Now we will see what are the demerits. First and foremost, non-sampling errors are likely to be more in this method. Just now I said that it is free from sampling errors. Now what is this non-sampling error? See, examples for non-sampling errors are errors in data entry. While entering the data, if you are making any error, that is non-sampling error. For example, while marking male and female. So if you are while marking by mistakenly if you are female, but if they have marked wrongly as male, then that error is called as non-sampling error. Next, biased survey questions or biased decision making or non-responses, false informations, all these are the examples for non-sampling errors. So such errors are more likely to be occurring in census enumeration method. Next, it requires more money, labor and time because you are going to enumerate each and every unit of the population. Next, it is not possible in some circumstances where the universe is vast. Census enumeration method cannot be used when area of study is large or wide. Lastly, while procuring the data, if the units are damaged, census enumeration is not suitable. See, if the units are of destructive type and being destroyed by examining, this method is useless. So, these are the demerits of census enumeration method. Now we will see what is sample survey. To understand sample survey, first of all we should know what is sample. The representative units or a part or a portion of the population is called as sample. See, in this picture it is clear. See, the large number of people represents the population, and from that population if you are going to select few people for study, then that few people will be considered as sample. So it is a part of the population, or it is a portion of the population which represents the population, is called as sample, and an enumeration based on sample is called as sample survey. See, the theory of sampling has been developed recently, but it is not new. In our day-to-day life, we have been using sampling theory without knowing about it. For example, a housewife tests a small quantity of vegetable before purchase. That is, she accepts or rejects a lot by sample survey. Now we will see the merits of sample survey. This method requires less labor, less time, and is economical because here you are not going to study each and every unit of the population. You are going to study only a part of the population. So this method requires less labor, less time, and less money. Next, sample survey is more scientific. It is scientific. Scientific means conducted in the manner of science or according to results of investigation by science. Why sample survey is more scientific? Because study may be done by other samples for available information. Next, this method is applied for those units which are destructive in nature. So we have seen that census enumeration cannot be conducted for destructive units, but you can conduct sample survey on destructive units. Next, sample survey is free from non-sampling errors. See, whatever non-sampling errors are there, those non-sampling errors will not be occurring in sample survey. Now we will see the demerits of sample survey. Sample survey requires adoption of appropriate sampling method and appropriate method of analysis. See, in your upcoming classes you are going to learn methods of sampling. So out of those methods you have to select one suitable method to conduct the sample survey. Next, if the population is too heterogeneous in nature, the use of sampling procedure is impossible. Suppose whatever units are there in the population, if all the units has different characteristics, that means if every unit is unique, then it is very difficult to select the sample from such population. So it is not suitable where the population is too heterogeneous. Next, sampling errors are part and parcel of sample survey. See, in sample survey, obviously sampling errors will be there, because if you are making any error in selection of sample, then sampling error will be there. Here you are going to conduct the study on sample itself. So the main sample itself goes wrong, then the entire study will also be wrong. So sampling errors are part and parcel of sample survey. Other things we will discuss in our upcoming classes. Thank you.